What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another cooking video with John. Today I'll be making my Salsbury steaks. So we're gonna have two portions. One is gonna focus on the Salsbury steak and what goes into it. The second part will be my gravy that I'll be making. So first off, let's start with the meat. What I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna be using 1 pound of ground beef. I'll be using 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. For my spices, I have garlic powder, salt, and black pepper. The garlic powder and the salt both will be using 1 teaspoon, as where the black pepper you'd only be using half a teaspoon. And also next to it, I have 1 1/4 cups of breadcrumbs, and then I'll just be using 1 egg yolk. For my gravy, I'll be using onions, flour, warm water, and 1 1/2 of beef bouillon cubes. So without further ado, let's start with the meat. First thing you do is just take your meat out. Throw that away. Next, it doesn't really matter what you add. You can add whatever you want, but I'm gonna add my spices. This is the salt, garlic powder, and pepper. Next is my 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, that's about right. Pour that in. Next will be my egg yolk and my breadcrumbs. And it's just simply of just mixing it all together. You just want to make sure you get it all on there mixed together. Get all your spices, breadcrumbs, the Worcestershire sauce, the egg yolk. And you just want to combine them all together. Alright, now that we just have them all mixed together, just gonna go like this with your hand, so that way you're not fumbling with how many is gonna be, and you just separate and make them into 4s. Then you just grab one section of it. I probably got a little bit too much. Put it right here for this one. Now this 1 pound of meat can make up to 4 Salsbury steaks, sorry about that. Set that there. Make another one. And you just grab the rest. Some more there. Just gonna roll it up like this. And these look just about right. Okay, now that we got our patties, the next, just get my hands clean a little bit. Alright. Next step, take your meat. Next, we will be adding 2 tablespoons of butter. Now with the butter, you don't really have to get exactly 2 tablespoons, but just don't put too much. Alright, so put the butter to the side. Put the spoon away. You're just gonna get the butter around so it can melt faster. I'm just gonna press these down more because when you're cooking them and you see them so big, they're gonna end up shrinking. So that's why you just want to press them down, because even though you're gonna have these big clogs of meat, when they're cooking, they're gonna shrink. So just make sure to get those. Stir the butter around just a little bit more. Want to wait till it's fully melted. Those look about right. The butter seems to be coming along, so we're just gonna put them all in the pan. Put this in the sink. And while you're cooking, you're just gonna let them sit there, pop roughly around 3 to 4 minutes on each side, because once you're done with that, don't worry about them not being too cooked all the way, because you're gonna, with the gravy, once you make your gravy, you're gonna put the meat back in there so all the juices from the gravy can be soaked inside the meat. And so, for right now, we're just gonna wait for these to cook. And when we come back, I'll be taking them off and we'll start it on our gravy. And we're back. So now that we cooked our meat, we're just gonna take our Salisbury steaks off, put them on this napkin. Those look good. Alright. Now that we got those on, I'm gonna turn down the heat down to a medium low. Because the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna take our rendered juices and we're gonna caramelize our onions. Okay, put those to the side. And these are gonna, now we're just gonna have this on the low heat, and we're gonna let these caramelize on low heat for 20 minutes. No longer than 20 minutes. Once the 20 minutes is up, we'll get into the next step. I use about a medium onion, half of a medium onion to put in. And earlier I told you about my breadcrumbs. I made a mistake. It was actually 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. So for right now, since this is the second part that takes the longest, just because you gotta caramelize your onions. So for right now, we're just gonna let these caramelize, and when we come back, then I'll show you the next step in making the gravy. And we're back. So now let's take a look at our caramelized onions. Look at how brown and caramelized that looks. Trust me, this gravy's gonna be the bomb. All right. So now the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna start our gravy process. And right here I have 2 tablespoons of flour. So you're just gonna add that in. Now I'm just gonna whisk it around. Make sure you get it all in there. That looks just about good enough. So now we are gonna add our liquid. And what I did with my beef bouillon, because it's 2 teaspoons of beef bouillon and 2 cups of water, to save some time, I put my beef bouillon cubes inside the warm water and dissolved it, so that way I could just easily add it there and mix it all around. Alright, so now we're just gonna add this to our caramelized onions and just add it right in there. Then I'll set this to the side. And now we're just gonna whisk all the caramelized onions, beef bouillon, and the flour all together. Make sure we get all of it in there nice and good. That looks just about right. And for our next step, we are going to just drop our meat in there. So you just put one in there, right there, another one right there. Okay. And so for the final step in making our Salsbury steaks, we're just gonna leave our meat in there, let it simmer for 15 minutes on a medium-low heat. So just put the lid on there, leave it there for 15 minutes. Once it simmers, it's gonna be ready to be put on there. So for just now, we're just gonna let these simmer, and when we come back, we're gonna have our finished product. And we're back. So now we're just gonna show the finished product. I also made some side dishes. I made some corn, then I also made some cheesy garlic mashed potatoes. So let's just get the mashed potatoes, get a big scoop full of that. Let's get a little bit more. Alright, and then now for the main event, our Salsbury steaks, sorry about that, I don't know why I keep saying sliders, with our gravy. So now we're just gonna grab some of this yummy gravy, put it right in there. We'll put a little bit more, but for right now we're just gonna grab our Salsbury steaks. One right there, and then we'll have another one. And we're just gonna set that right there, and then we get some more gravy for the Salsbury steaks and the mashed potatoes. And if you're wondering why it's still a little runny, I mean, it will harden up and get into a gravy form. It's just, I don't know why I didn't do it right now, but it's not gonna render the taste. So for this part, let me give you a better close-up. Look at all that yummy goodness with the caramelized onions, cheesy garlic mashed potatoes. So now for this part, I'm gonna have my dad come on and try my Salsbury steaks. So he's gonna be on the camera, so.
All right, well, I'm usually the one that's behind the camera, but today's my son's try, so I'm really interested in trying this. So the first thing I'm gonna try is cheesy garlic. You said cheesy garlic mashed potatoes, okay?
Yes.
Let's try that with the gravy. Ooh, that gravy is really good. It may be loose, but I think it's perfect. I think if you maybe cooked it a little bit longer, it would thicken up, but man, that's good. All right, well, I'm going in, man. I'm gonna try the Salsbury steak. I've had Salsbury steak before, but never homemade. This is gonna be interesting. All right. Wow. And I'm not just saying this. That tastes like, you know, if I bought it at a store or at a restaurant. Man, that's good. That's a good recipe. I give that a 5 out of 5. That's awesome. Man, that was a good one.
Alright, so as you can see for yourself, Salsbury steaks are excellent. I'm gonna try a little piece myself. Try this little piece that he left. I love this recipe so much. Trust me. Just give it a try, and you're not gonna regret it. Like you said, the gravy, you can cook it longer, so that way you have a thicker gravy. But other than that, it's fantastic. Alright, so that is my cooking video. These are my Salsbury steaks. You saw it wasn't that hard to make. It took at least about 45 minutes to have everything prepped and ready, not counting the side dish, just the meat and the gravy. So yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.